What's up, and welcome back to the podcast today. I am so excited to have another guest. We are just having the most amazing guests this year, and I'm so glad to have Carla on today. She is a fertility doula and spirit baby channel who bridges the gap between Western medicine and the spiritual dimensions of conception. Through her ability to communicate with babies before they're born, Carla helps women unlock their unique fertility codes, addressing the mindset, energetic blocks, and spirit baby connection that traditional doctors don't see or measure. After transforming her own relationship with motherhood, Carla now guides women through a powerful process of stopping the endless trying to conceive cycle and instead embracing the sacred journey of conception. Her revolutionary approach focuses on rebuilding self-love and trust along establishing a profound co-creation with spirit babies who are waiting to come earthside. This work creates the energetic foundation where conception can unfold naturally and joyfully. Carla's work isn't about getting pregnant, it's about claiming the sacred nature of the fertility journey and transforming it from a medical event to a spiritual initiation, which we have the most beautiful conversation, and I probably will have her on again because I'm sure there will be so many questions after we have our short little chat that's about an hour long, but I think you will learn so much. And sit back, it's a good one. Let's welcome Carla onto the podcast. Welcome to the podcast. I am so excited to have yet another beautiful guest on today. We have Carla. Carla, welcome.
Hello, welcome. I'm so excited to be here.
Carla, can you tell everyone what your sun, moon, and rising signs are? And if you know anything about your human design.
Yeah, I'm a human design girly, so I had to write down my actual 3 signs because I always tend to forget. So Cancer sun, that one, I remember that one. Aquarius moon, and Libra rising. Yeah, and then in human design, I'm a projector. 2-5 projector.
I can definitely, the Cancer sun really shines through in your work.
Yeah.
And the Aquarius, yeah.
Wait, tell me more. I've had an astrology reading, actually not that long ago, maybe a year ago. And it was very, very insightful. Very insightful.
It's so cool. Astrology and human design are just so cool to me because you can just keep learning and learning and you'll never know it all. But Cancers are very nurturing. It's like the mother. It's it can be emotional and things like that. Whenever I hear, my initial reaction to when I hear someone's a Cancer is oh, they're probably emotional. Not in a bad way, but just really in tune with their feelings and stuff. My son is also a Cancer sun.
Yeah.
And I can tell he's one and he's already showing that very much.
Actually haven't looked at the astrology of my children. So I also have 2. I think our babies are similar age, right? My daughter is 15 months.
My daughter's a little older. She's 4.
But she's not your baby, right?
No, my son is 1. So yeah.
Okay, yeah,
They're
I remember
similar.
I remember going through postpartum and seeing some of your just postpartum videos and yeah, you just showed it off though.
Still here.
Yeah, you showed it off though. It was inspiring to me to be showing up, in the most natural way. So no, that was inspiring to me. I don't think I ever told you.
So sweet. Yeah, I know. I feel like I make an instant connection sometimes when people are interested in the woo-woo and the fact that we have kids similar ages. It's just really, there's so many people in the space, I feel, or maybe it's just who I follow and who I know that don't have kids. And it's I love that. And they're not there, or maybe they don't ever want to have kids, but you can just relate a little bit more to mamas sometimes because our lives are a little differently, especially with the littles.
Yes, I 1000% agree. I love, all my mentors and everyone that inspires me that doesn't have children. And I very much work with them as well. But it just hits differently when you have the mom who gets the juggle and who just knows what it feels like when the children are sick and you're just more, in the midst of it all. Or whatever it may be, it's a little bit different, but beautiful in a different way.
I know. I'm getting chills as we're talking about that. Oh, I love it so much because that flows perfectly into what we're going to talk about today, which is what you're doing. Let's maybe start with, okay, like who you are now, like what you're doing and how you got there. I love for people to talk about, the beginning of their, spiritual awakening too.
Yeah, so I very much came out of the spiritual closet pretty recently, I would say. But I'll take you back to how it all started, and then I feel like we'll arrive at this beautiful awakening where I'm fully in my power and where I just am really proud to now be the Spirit Baby channel and to work with women, helping them on their fertility journey. But it all started back in Germany. I'm German originally, and I was a big tennis player. And I came to the US to play college tennis. So I grew up very 3D, like very 3D, could not be more 3D. My dad was a civil engineer, my mom a teacher, then homestay mom. And all my siblings are somewhat in business or engineering. So my plan was always to just study business and see what happens. So I ended up, in college. Actually, tennis stopped being my passion. Like I knew it already like at the end of high school, but I kept pushing because I just had this feeling, in my heart that it's going to open up a world for me. And it did, right? This is how I ended up in California. This is how I ended up meeting my husband in college. But then I had to figure out who I was outside of tennis. And that was very hard. Like just finding yourself. It's almost like becoming a mom for the first time. I don't know if you went through that. Yeah. But finding yourself as a mom like is really hard as well. So anyways, so I'm in college. I'm studying accounting, business, and I start getting exposed through my best friend back then to, and that was my intro into, spirituality in a very like gentle way, I would say, right? Very gentle. And then I started working for a Big Four accounting firm, KPMG, if anyone knows them. I worked really long hours after college, and what kept me sane was the yoga mat. What kept me sane was just my PTO and, looking forward to the vacations. Mm-hmm. But then what happened was that my then, I think almost were like husband and wife, actually. No, actually we were already, like we were married for 10 months, and it was right before back then we had a church wedding, actually. Right before our church wedding, my husband fell ill, and it was really hard because I've never been around, very blessed, so around illness or around sickness, and we didn't know what was happening. Like we thought that it was just, whoa, like what's going on? Like what's going, like, like 3D medicine, Western medicine, like help us out. And literally all tests were more or less normal. But yet he wasn't feeling well. He had really weird symptoms, a lot of fatigue. And later on, it turned out that he had Lyme disease and various co-infections. And if anyone has experienced that or a loved one has been through it, if you don't catch in the very beginning, it can turn chronic. And so it literally impacted our life so hard. Like I would go to work, like worrying about him, like, is he okay? Like, what's going on? And I spent all the time I had on trying to find ways to help him. So it's a huge part of my story is his journey, actually, and his, chronic illness, because it helped me awaken. It helped me realize that there's more to just working a corporate job that you don't enjoy and where you're just looking forward to the PTO. Like I realized, wow, I want more than that. Mm-hmm. So while he's still, facing some of the effects of that chronic illness, he's doing much better. But there's still that almost daily reminder that now, like, I'm on this mission for a reason. because life is meant to just be full. It's meant to be lived and enjoyed, and just waiting for the PTO wasn't enough for me anymore. So I was on this journey to find my thing. It wasn't tennis anymore. It really wasn't the yoga, even though I did a mini yoga teacher training. And I was like, wait, maybe I'm meant to be a health coach, because I was helping my husband just, finding different ways of healing, right? I did the certification and I realized now, like, the biology piece of it all, like, that is not for me. And so I kept dipping my toes into different things, following podcasts, spiritual podcasts. Manifesting was a big thing for me. And it wasn't until my son was born that I hit this rock bottom again. So my husband and he went through a very hard time again physically. It kind of ebbed and flowed for a few years, but then rock bottom hit him again too. And in that time, I don't know if you've experienced mastitis ever. Like, is that a yes or no? The breast infection?
I never got the infection, but I got, what is it called when you get just
the clock duct?
The clock, yes. And that was painful enough.
So with my son, he was 3 weeks old, and I got the worst mastitis ever that turned into an abscess. Not to scare anyone, like, this can all be very well, like, prevented. Yeah. But I just had no idea. I was the first one in our friend group who had a child. Like, I had no idea what was coming for me. And I didn't have all the support that I needed, which is totally on me, because I could have asked for more, right? I could have prepared for more. But it was a combination of it all that, led me down this path that kind of put this, what's the word? Like, it just hit me hard, like, during postpartum, like, I was so ecstatic. I had the birth that I envisioned to have, like, it went all smooth, baby was there, and then boom, like, I was like, holy smokes, I didn't imagine nursing, breastfeeding to be this hard. I didn't imagine having to do half formula and half, like, nursing. Like, that hit me hard. And then physically not feeling well, and then emotionally, just going through, like, the transition of becoming a mom, like, it hit me hard. I don't know how many times I said that now, but, like, that was reality.
Yeah.
So it took me a while to feel like myself, and it took me, like just feeling physically not good, in the sense that I would feel tired, like I didn't have the energy to go on long walks and to be living like a lovey-dovey life. Like, it's weird. Like, I love my son so much. Like, I don't think I had the postpartum blues or depression or anything like that. But life just felt blah, It wasn't what I imagined it to be when I imagined having a child.
Because you're surviving.
Yes. And so I was on this quest of then slowly finding myself again. It really started taking care of me physically. Working with a doctor to just look at, okay, like, what needs to be restored and pushed, and which supplements do I need? Start from there. And then slowly I dove into the podcast again, into the manifestation. And I don't know what exactly caused it, but I decided to take a purpose life coach certification, spiritual life coach certification, which was also a Dharma coaching certification. And I did all that to find my purpose, because I was craving this purpose again. Like, at this point, my son was 2 years old. Like, I literally just kind of like ebbed and flowed. Like, I was working full time. I was doing all the things. Life was okay. But there was something just missing. And now it's coming back to me. It was when I had this situation with a friend, and she told me a lot of things that, some were true and some I believe weren't true. But it just hit me really hard. It really left my heart broken. Like, it left it broken, so broken. And I was devastated. I was devastated to hear that when you show up, you're not, she didn't use these words because she's not spiritual, but she essentially said that I'm not raising the vibration, that I come with bad energy, And that hit me hard. And I got really upset at my husband because I was like, babe, like, come on. Like, if I show up like this, you gotta call me out on my BS. You know, like, I expect for my husband to tell me when I'm the wrong. I expect him to give me the feedback. If he wants something different from me, I expect him to tell me. And so it turned out that I guess I wasn't behaving that well, but that maybe somebody was projecting. And that whole situation hit me so hard that it did cause this awakening again, like this rebirth. Like, I feel like I've been through like multiple iterations of like awakening and rebirth. But this prompted me to take the life coaching certification. So I became a life coach when my son was 2.5 years old. Now he's 5. And I started posting on social media. I started working with a voice coach because I was always so shy and insecure that I could never imagine talking in front of a camera. Like, could not. And one time I heard on a podcast that the woman worked with a voice coach, and I just knew I have to do the same thing. So I did. And that gave me the confidence to show up on social media.
Cool.
Then it was this journey that just, that kept like one reiteration after another. And I slowly started finding, the coaching, working with women and helping them be more confident. I think back then I was targeting the woman who's probably in corporate. But it wasn't like super crystal clear. I mean, I was always talking to a former version of myself, but there was a lot of other women out there talking to the same woman, I would say, which there's nothing wrong with it. And then, I don't know, life just continued. I was kind of doing my thing. And then I don't know what caused it, but I was pregnant with my daughter. Now, my kids have a 4-year exact age gap, like exactly 4 years. And I remember my coach back then, she sent me a video, and it was actually of Emily the Mystic that we both love.
Yes.
And it was about the eclipse, I believe. And so when she sent me the video, I was like, who's this woman? So I started following her, and I started opening myself up to more like energy and spirituality. And I learned about the Akashic records, and I was like, wait, what the hell is that? Like, I want to know about that. And I got my first Akashic reading from her, and then I was totally converted. Like, this was so good. Just the way that, she connected me with, because I was pregnant back then, she connected me with my spirit baby and, gave me all this information about my purpose, like everything. And then she was launching her Akashic certification, or she already had it. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm totally going to sign up for that. So I did that when my daughter was just born. Like, my daughter was a month old.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, but I actually loved it. Like, my daughter would come to all the calls. She would just like sleep in my carrier or in my swing type of thing, and I would just change her diapers. Like, it was actually not too bad. It got more complicated at the very end of the certification when I had to get all my practice hours in.
Yeah.
But I had all the time. And at this point, I felt like I was in my power. I knew who I was. I was becoming this, new version, mom of 2. I knew how to spend my time, because I feel like I didn't really know how to spend my time when my son was born, to be honest. It sounds so silly, but I feel like I had a hard time being alone and just being my thoughts. So with my daughter, no issue at all, because I really became, so used to meditation and being alone and just being my own best friend and all these things. So yeah, did the certification with Emily. And then it's been a journey since then. And that was like a year ago. And then I was doing a reading after another, and I just kept always seeing like future babies of the women and like helping them really understand what needs shifting before they become a mom. Like, some of them weren't even in a relationship yet, and that's what they were craving. And then I was working with Emily like on a closer one-on-one mentorship. And she channeled for me that I'm meant to be a spirit baby channel. And I was like, what the hell is a spirit baby? Like, I didn't even know. I didn't even know. And so it took me, I would say, another 6 months to actually talk about that on social media. Yeah, and now that's what I do. I connect with babies that are meant to come earthside and help women connect with them, learn what they have to share. And yeah, because the spirit babies are so special. Like they choose you, choose the mom chooses the baby, and there's this contract that needs to be signed essentially before the baby comes earthside. And there's a lot of, not a lot, but most often the babies have certain requirements before they come earthside. And when I connect with them and I channel the information and the guidance, they tell me what needs shifting, and that's what's powerful. You get to build this relationship with your spirit baby, but I'll stop there because I've been talking for a minute.
No worries. No, that's a beautiful journey. I feel like everyone I've talked to almost that has a spiritual business has either like been in corporate or had, the job that they thought they needed or what everyone told them they needed. So you always have this urge to do something else because you're truly meant to do something else. And I think it is so cool to follow along in your journey. And then, because we connected through Emily's mentorship or the membership or something. And then I remember it was like a few months ago. It felt like out of nowhere, but it was like Carla's talking about spirit babies. And I was like glued to my camera. I was like, I love this. Like it just like felt like I could feel your energy was just like you're like, oh my gosh, this totally clicks and makes sense. And you're so good at it. And yeah, you're like, but I want you there's probably a bajillion questions out there. But could you maybe explain to someone who like really, is curious about it and maybe doesn't know, um, like what are your views on, spirit babies or maybe explain a little bit. Like, are they just hanging around with us all day or, or what are they doing? And does everyone have them around? Maybe things like that.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Yeah, my favorite topic. And I just want to add one thing that it did come out of nowhere that I was talking about it because I think I knew for months that I meant to be talking about it. Literally months. But there was just this internal, like, resistance that was very large about what would other people think. And I'm still working on fully overcoming that and fully like, being in the light and shining my own light. But it's been incredible because I've just gotten so much more engagement. Like so many more people are interested and I'm having more people join my offerings, and that's a confirmation for me,
Gotcha.
together with how lit up I am about talking about this stuff, that it's meant to be like this. So yeah, spirit babies. And what's very interesting too is that a lot of this is actually just channeled and just like this knowing that I have versus like learned knowledge. Yes, I've taken some classes and I've taken some books about it, but it's interesting because all the guidance I get from my guides is like, stop reading. Like, all this, You just need to remember. Okay, so spirit babies. Like I mentioned earlier, like we all have them. Whether you want to be a mom, you're maybe past your biological age, maybe you don't even want another child. We all have our spirit babies, and some are meant to come earthside and some may not come earthside. Or, right, if you're past your biological age, you might just have a little, oh my gosh, the word is coming through, but I feel like it's coming through in German. I'm like, that's not meant, I'm not meant to be saying this out loud. But you're meant to have this little companion. That's it.
There
a
you go.
companion that's essentially like a guide. So my spirit baby, my third one that I've started talking to, I think when my daughter was 8 months old, she started coming through in a meditation, in a guided meditation, and I started connecting with her. And she shares all the things that I need to be shifting before she can come earthside. And it's really beautiful, like just really natural, beautiful guidance on what I really need in my life to also be happier, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's things like, Mom, you need more balance. I'm like, oh yeah, girl, like I know. But
That's your Libra rising, balance.
there you go. It's very easy for me to get sucked into my work and to be thinking about my work and what I need to be doing. And so ever since I received that guidance, I've been trying to take it a little bit slower.
Mm-hmm.
My mind, like I literally had a monkey brain mind, like I'd go to bed and my brain could not stop. And I was like, holy smokes, I'm not used to that. Like, I'm not used to that. I didn't even know what it was. And it felt like, you know, when your computer does a restart and you need to hit like F1 or F4, whatever, like one
Yeah.
of those buttons, and then you keep pressing stuff. That's how it felt. And when she shared that, I was like, wow, like I need to do things differently. She tells me things like, I need to get stronger. And so whenever I do, you know, work out, I always remember her. Like, I'm like, oh, before baby comes through, like, remember, she wants me to, like, get stronger. So it's reminders that are potent. For other readings I've done, it's things like, you need to work on your relationship with your husband. You need to have more fun. She tells me that too. She's like, Mommy, you need to have more fun with daddy. I'm like, okay, lesson received, guidance received. I'll get on that. Because it's so easy to get caught up. It's so easy for the women that I work with to be so focused on their fertility, on their ovulation, that they forget about it being sacred. Making a baby is meant to be a sacred journey. It's meant to be a co-creation with your spirit baby. So understanding exactly what they want, what they need before they can come through, so that that contract that I mentioned before can be signed. And if your spirit baby is just meant to be in the cosmos, because to your point, they are just floating around. Some are recovering from a past life that they had. Some are, you know, just hanging out, waiting for mom to get ready so they can come through. You know, for women who have gone through a miscarriage or pregnancy loss, it's really fascinating in a way that the spirit baby that you lost may just come back in an even more beautiful, better physical body, that it just wasn't meant to be in the previous way that they came through. So they may come back, they may not come back. It kind of depends. But what has been very comforting for me is just connecting with your spirit baby and understanding, baby, like, what do you need? Like, I want you to come through so badly. And then she tells me, Mommy, me too, but I'm just recovering, right? They will let you know. And it helps to build the trust and the belief that the baby's coming through. And it's just a matter of when and not if. And that changes everything energetically. Everything.
I think that, yeah, that's huge. If you're, you know, focusing on, you know, that it will happen at some point and just trusting that divine timing. Because I think timing is huge. We live in a society where people want something and they want it now. Like, I want to get pregnant and I want it now. And maybe that's not your soul's journey. And maybe your spirit baby is waiting for you to do a couple things, maybe some healings, maybe balance, like Carla said. I know. And you've had 2 babies already, and so have I. And for me personally, the first, when we realized that we wanted to start having kids, we tried one cycle and I was pregnant. It was like that. But then the next one was not like that at all. So, and just trusting, and I didn't have any complications or anything. It just took longer the next time. And then it was a surprise when it was like, oh, I'm actually pregnant. I don't know if you have, you know, your own stories about your babies when your first 2 came. And yeah, everyone's different.
Everyone's different, and where the difficulty can happen is if you get into this vicious cycle of it not happening, and you worrying about it, and then that can trickle into, oh my gosh, something's wrong with my body, like what's going on? And you start like thinking about your body in a really not great way, meaning you start, hating your body potentially. You start not trusting it and you just feel betrayed. And when you have that relationship with your body, which essentially is you not loving yourself, often the spirit baby is just looking for, Mom, I want you to love yourself. I want you to mother yourself. I want you to talk to yourself as you would talk to me. And I'll first talk about my pregnancies, but then I want to come back to what I just started talking about. But my first baby, I often don't share it because he was unplanned. And he was unplanned. And this is where I just believe, even what we were talking before the show started, like everything happens in divine timing. Like it's just meant to be the way it kind of happened. So we needed him to come through because of the health issues that my husband was facing, meaning that if he wouldn't have come through, my husband probably would have had not much to live for. Like we needed my son to just be this, our everything,
breath of fresh air. Yeah.
our light, breath of fresh air, take my husband's thoughts and my thoughts off whatever we're facing in our life. We just needed that fresh of breath air. I'm not going to say it again.
Breath of fresh air. We know what you're saying.
There you go. And so my daughter, we're trying for a little bit. Conscious about using the word trying because I don't like how it sounds energetically. It's like you're trying, and whenever I try,
uses that word.
I know. Whenever I try to do something, it doesn't happen. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Like me being an athlete, when I would try to do the sprints, the hill sprints, I might just give up before I even try. But when I say I do something, I'm going to do it. There is a difference. And so I try to be conscious. Again, I try to be conscious of the word, but we're looking forward to our next baby coming through for sure. But yet again, I wasn't actively tracking anything. I wasn't actively telling my husband, oh my gosh, today's a fertile day, we need to connect. Like if one of us didn't feel well, or if, like, it wasn't a big deal. We're getting ready for her for sure, wanting her to come through and doing our best to connect as often as we did back then. But something was blocking her coming through, and that was, I later realized that I had this fear of breastfeeding because it was all related to my son and my postpartum experience with him, that when I was, thinking about her coming through, and I had this situation with my breast where I needed to get a second opinion. It didn't end up being anything bad, but I needed to get a second opinion. And when I was sitting in front of my other breast doctor that I luckily had the relationship with because of the mastitis that I experienced with my son, and I was able to get in real quick, because if somebody tells you need to get a second opinion, I mean, I freak out.
Yeah.
Let's be real. I freak out. No matter how much spiritual work I did, I freak out. And she saw me a day later. I was able to squeeze in a day later after I found out you need the second opinion. And as she's doing the ultrasound on my breast, I talked to her and she's like, everything is good. Like, you don't need to worry. And I asked her, by the way, like, if I have a second child, could I breastfeed again? And she's like, of course. And I didn't even realize that I had that worry. When it's just in your subconscious and you have no idea, but then somehow you're talking and it comes out that you're actually afraid of something or worrying about something or anxious about something. That's how it was. And so when she said that, I was just able to lean back and I was able to just like, wow, that just released a lot of resistance that I had. And I had another follow-up appointment with her a couple months after that, where she told me again, everything is good. You don't have to worry. And kid you not, a couple months later, I was pregnant. And I wholeheartedly believe that I wasn't getting pregnant because I didn't know if I could breastfeed or not.
So you were just, energetically like holding on to that.
Yes, exactly. I had that energetic resistance. in my subconscious that I had no idea about
Mm-hmm.
that kept me from bringing my daughter through, actually. And back then, I didn't have the tools I have now, right? Like, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know that a spirit baby even exists. I didn't know I could talk to her. I didn't know I could ask her. I didn't even know that I could do energy healing on myself. Like, this has been a very, like, recent, like, transition, and just, adding to my tool belt and being able to just take better care of myself and also the clients that come to my world. But everything I do with my clients, I also do with myself.
I
And
love that.
yeah, once that happened and I connected all the dots, I was like, wow, this is crazy.
It's so cool. It truly is so cool. And I want you to go back and talk about the self-love piece
Yes,
because I think that's so important in honestly any area of your life. But bringing in a child, that's a huge, huge piece.
yes. So in a lot of readings I've done recently, the self-love piece has been like big, meaning that it's all about the self-love. I always talk about bringing a baby into the world is just like any other manifestation. It's becoming the energetic match, the vibrational match, and being in that frequency of how would you feel if your manifestation was already here? So if you already had your baby in your arms, how would you feel, right? And then they tell me complete, happy, right? Just grateful. I'm like, okay, that's how you need to start feeling now. And the piece with the body is, okay, if your baby's here, you wouldn't doubt your body anymore, right? You would wholeheartedly believe that your body is capable of bringing the baby through. So it's all kind of like a big spider web. It's all connected. And the self-love piece is just huge. Often it shows up as like a cloud hovering over the body of the future mom. And it's almost like what we talked about, the energetic resistance. It's kind of like that. Like there's just too much that's being taken up by the self betrayal, or by the not self love being there. Like there's too much darkness almost. That's how it looks for me. Like when I see it, that's how it looks. Like it's cloud, there's darkness, and this is where we need to create the space, and we need to just shove that all out in a really, gentle way, and fill future mama up with the self-love and the self-acceptance and all the beautiful, beautiful, like golden, glittery light, so that she's full of love instead of, any gunk, I'll call it. But yeah, it's really, love is crucial in every area of life, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you can attest
One.
to it.
Oh my gosh, 100%. It's like, yeah, it'll affect your financials, your relationship, your job, your career, your business, especially when you have like a soul-led entrepreneur business. You know when people are coming into your bubble, it's because you're really like loving yourself, you're loving what you're doing, and you're so confident in it. And I'm sure you can definitely attest to that from, before you were doing spirit baby stuff and to now, the shift.
Exactly. That's exactly how it is. So it's just like any other manifestation. And yeah, that's just why it's often the first piece that I work with the women on, is bringing back the self-love and helping them to let go of all the gunk, like everything that happened that they haven't
Mm-hmm.
forgiven themselves for yet, all the thoughts that are just, where you're beating yourself up versus cheering yourself up. It's all of that we're just transmuting into pure love, like pure light. And it helps raise the vibration. It helps, just because what the spirit babies always share is like, you got to start loving life now. And if you
Mm-hmm.
don't even love yourself right now, it's probably really hard to love life as.
Well, yeah, if you're hating your life and you bring a baby into it, I mean, yes, it's going to be a wonderful experience, but It is not easy at the beginning. It's a very difficult transition, and you could really get, and I'm sure that's why, the depression and stuff happens too to some women in the postpartum
Exactly.
blues. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I had one of my first clients ever actually. She came to me when I was doing the conference coaching. She's like, "You need to help me. I'm depressed. I'm going through the postpartum blues." I'm like, "Girl, I'm not the right type of girl for that type of thing." She's like, "No, like you need to help me." I'm like, "Okay, let's do this." And we're working together for 3 months, and then she has extended and been in my world since then. But she told me if I would have known and prepared before I had the baby, if I would have filled myself up with self-love, with confidence, right? It's the same as confidence, like you mentioned it. Self-love is the same as confidence. Then it would have not been as hard for her. Like she also had to do some other healing, and it's just all part of the journey, right? The more healing you can do beforehand. And I think that's what I wanted to talk about actually. Becoming a mom just raises, like, it's this ascension, right? Like
Oh,
you
yeah.
become a new version. And that can either hit during the conception journey. It can start during pregnancy, right? There's many women who struggle through pregnancy because the symptoms are so severe. Luckily,
Mm-hmm.
that has never been my thing, but or it can be postpartum, which that's where I got hit so hard, right? Like at some point, you need to go through this rapid ascension so that you can actually be the mom and start living life a little bit differently than you have. And the earlier you can take yourself through that journey, the smoother each stage will be.
That is so cool. I have never thought about it like that. That
Yeah.
it's just like a big ascension. And yeah, no shit, people don't feel like if they're just, yeah, if you're just living in your little 3D world and then, you get hit with all of that stuff when you're trying, your body is like, okay, we're moving this way, and your soul is like, we're moving up. And that makes so much sense.
Yeah, because all of a sudden you have so much more responsibility, right? Like me
Mm-hmm.
becoming a mom, I already had a hard time just managing myself. That's often actually something that keeps spirit baby from mama. Like there's this overwhelm in the life already that if they actually thought about it and brought it to the conscious mind, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, I'm worried about it. I'm worried about how I would juggle it all. The
Mm-hmm.
career, the relationship, baby bringing through." Yet they desire baby so much, but there's this underlying subconscious fear of how would it all work out. But it's something I've just noticed, like in the work I do, that there is a correlation. And I don't know about you, but obviously my second postpartum was a lot smoother. And when I would walk in the neighborhood, everyone would tell me, "Oh my gosh, yeah, it's your second baby. It's so much smoother." But I believe, literally, could not be more certain that if you would do all the work ahead of having your first baby, the transition wouldn't be as hard. What would be hard is, of course, learning how to take care of a baby, like learning the whatever nursing bottle, whatever you do. But the self-growth and the self-development and becoming this new version of yourself, I believe that wouldn't be as rough of a journey.
For you're like, that would be so interesting for somebody that has never not had kids yet, but wants them to do all of that work to just kind of like see how their journey ends up being.
Yeah, and I feel
Because,
like
yeah.
sorry for interrupting you, but I feel like I see it in some influencers. Now, want to be super careful with that, but there is one that I follow. She's a fitness nutritionist, fitness coach type of woman who brought her baby through, first time mom, and of course she had some struggle, right? But she knew exactly who she already was.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can really see that the beauty like carried through, and she was very open through her struggles with nursing and the baby not really taking, the pump milk and blah, 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 blah. Like she had her struggle that, were hard for her, but it was on a much smaller scale, I believe, because she knew exactly who she was and she was in her power. And being in your power just makes all the difference.
I think so. I really think so. Yeah, it's like for me, I feel like all the information, and you're similar, like all the information we have now, it would be interesting, if there was another baby, like how different it would be. Because when I had my first baby, I was very, like you said, in the 3D party girl, like who knows what I was doing, but it was not not for my not the greatest things. But it's just interesting. And that's what you're doing is helping women. Would you say a lot of the women you're seeing now have not had any kids yet? Or have one or two or
Yeah, it's a combination. It's for sure a combination. But because I've been focusing so much on the fertility, it's either that they haven't had a child or it's the you and me who have had one child and then it takes them longer to conceive the second child. That's what I've been noticing. And with that, I just want to circle back and say that, there is a reason why there is a 4-year age gap between my son and my daughter. Like, there is a reason. I was not ready before the 4-year age gap, obviously, to have a child. So while I always imagined that it would be so beautiful to have a shorter age gap, maybe for the third, we'll see, that often there isn't the space for a baby to come through. So I remember doing a reading for one woman who just felt overwhelmed as is, didn't really know, it felt like she was still kind of like in the thick of it. Like obviously she figured it all out, how to do life. And whenever I say that she was in the thick of it or that, life was really hard, it doesn't mean that it wasn't beautiful too. But it was just harder than it should have or that it could have. It's when you're like going to bed at night, just being so exhausted and waking up in the morning, like feeling exhausted. Whenever that's the case for me, waking up in the morning, just being so exhausted, I'm like, what's wrong with me? Like I really start asking the question. And that's when I know I need to fill my own cup. That's when I know I need to prioritize my self-care. Like for me, it's all about self-care at this point and just filling my cup in different ways. But so for the women who are having secondary infertility, who are experiencing secondary fertility, it's often that there isn't the space or the relationship with partner isn't as solid as it should be. And that's why it's taking them longer. And I always, always, always recommend for my women to do fertility testing, to like test their hormones and make sure that, that isn't it, right? But often they have done all that, and yet nothing is technically wrong, but it's not working out. And so this is when I look at the energetic body. This is when we connect with the spirit baby and we just see, okay, what's really in the way from baby coming through? What do they need? What are they asking of you?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I think, yeah, I think a lot of it too is just like trusting the timing. I know I said that before, but my kids are 2.5 years apart. But it was hard. I think my second postpartum was just harder in the fact that my daughter was so young still. And I can't imagine those who have babies like back to back. But it was just a totally different experience. And I had a really good question for you, and it totally flew out of my head, and I cannot think of it now. But I wanted you to talk about some of the different ways that women can work with you when it comes to spirit baby stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So I've been doing these really fun mini readings on stories, which I'm about to do yours. Well, I don't know if you want it to be a secret, but I don't know if they can connect the dots,
Well, there's definitely, I've had multiple people are like, are you going to have another baby? And I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, you definitely have a girl like around you. And I was like, oh, and I get goosebumps when I say that because she's probably like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm so excited to do that. But I've been doing these really fun mini readings on stories that are all free where I just connect with the energy. You share the initials and some emojis. I connect with your energy and then I share a download of what's coming through, like a channeled message from your spirit baby, and I also pull a card.
Yes, they are so cool. I've been like hooked on Carla's stories because I've been
Yeah.
reading other people's too, and I'm like, what beautiful messages. So you need to
Yeah.
follow Carla on Instagram for sure.
Yes, and they're so fun, like so fun. And the feedback I've been getting has been incredible. The other thing that is coming very soon, potentially even this week, is some Instagram live readings. Also free. I know.
Look at
I'm really
you.
excited for those.
Cool.
So imagine the story reading, but in a like live format like this.
Yes.
I know. I'm really excited for those. Other than that, of course, you can book a session with me, a spirit baby healing session. I'm going to be launching my energy healing sessions, which I'm really excited about. Oh, and that's what I wanted to mention at the beginning, actually. Or not at the beginning, but at some point.
Somewhere.
Yeah, the reason why I also felt comfortable to come out of the spiritual closet is because I was doing all the energy healing on myself. I started doing another certification. And whenever you do a certification, you're doing all the work on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was doing all the energy healing work on myself, and that has been really incredible. And so I'm going to be launching those at some point, which is just another way to look at things besides being the Akashic Records, because I do my spirit baby readings through the Akashic Records.
Mm-hmm.
The energy healings are potent because it looks at things a little bit differently, I've noticed, than the Akashic readings. I love them both so much, though. I know, those are good. Those are good.
I know. I was like, I might
Yeah,
need to
and
sign
then
up for one of those.
Then I have a really fun free class also that is about manifesting your baby. So if any of your listeners are hoping to have a baby, or maybe are, well, I shouldn't even say hope, because hope
Knowing.
is,
Yeah.
know they want to have a baby and are calling that baby in. Definitely check that out. It's all about the energetics behind calling your baby forward through. And then other than that, always working on some new things, of course, that are in the works. Maybe something surrounding self-love. I don't know. It's like in here in my mind, coming together.
It'll come out.
It'll come out soon. But yeah, this work lights me up. And, I was talking about the friendship breakup, how she was essentially telling me like that I'm not raising the vibration whenever I show up. And part of my mission has just been like raising the vibration of the planet, like just lighting people up with the work I do. And that's what's been coming through. Like it's like allowing myself to just go for it, be brave, go for it, because there are people waiting for me to be doing this work, and I cannot be selfish. Sometimes it's so easy to be selfish and to be like, no, I'm scared. I don't want to show up, But no, like there are people waiting for me, and I need to be brave. I need to keep marching forward, and I need to find this balance so that it's all coexisting, right? My family, my business, and yeah, that's my mission.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I just remembered the question I was going to ask you.
Beautiful.
Yeah, we've talked so much about self-care and those types of things. Tell us about your little break over the week. I don't know if it was this weekend or last weekend where you were like, I'm just gonna peace out off social media and just really, I don't know, did you have the kids with you that weekend, or did you get a little bit of alone time? And
I
like,
did
what
have
did
the
you
kids.
do? Okay.
I think my husband and I, we have a really beautiful arrangement in that sense that When I need the space, he knows Mama needs her space and it will benefit him. Like, he has seen
Oh my
the
gosh, yeah.
correlation between, okay, if she fills her own cup, if she gets a massage, if she does a bath, she's gonna have space for me at the end of the night too. You know what I mean? So he knows. Okay, yes, I took the sacred pause that was so good, like so good, and I just felt blah. Like, nothing was necessarily wrong. I felt off. I didn't feel inspired. I was thinking too much with my mind versus leading from my heart. And so I had to just refill my cup. So what I did was I did a lot of, I actually did some shopping. I always call it retail therapy because it's true. I did all the journaling. I watched a recorded cacao ceremony. Do you ever go to cacao ceremonies?
I've never actually done one.
Those were so good. So good. Because the cacao really opens up your heart. And it's just like an immediate, I don't know, there's just something to it that allows you to dive a little bit deeper and to really open your heart to what's meant to be coming through. Highly recommend. So I did that. I got a massage, which was beautiful. I booked an Akashic reading that I actually received like very quickly too. It was a recorded reading.
Love those.
Yeah, it was so good, so potent, confirmed so many things. I did the energy healing on myself, and I think got my nails done. That was really it. So I did
Girl.
have a lot of alone time, but I also went to my son's t-ball game and I allowed myself to just be versus like worrying about content. You know, it's again like the balance that my spirit baby wants from me so badly. It's really just refining. It's always right. You learn these lessons along the way that allow you to just reawaken and double click into what needs shifting. And so that's the balance that I needed again. And then I've been trying to just incorporate the things more, like even, you know, over the week. So I'm still in this like weird flow of finding like showing up again on social media and like really putting it my all into my business. But I did this really cool thing yesterday where I did this compression therapy. Have you ever done that?
I've never actually done it. No. How was it?
It's really cool. It felt like, I was telling my husband, felt like receiving a big hug on your legs. Like, not like massage, you know, massage is a little bit more painful in a good way for me, but the compression therapy felt like a big hug on my legs. It's like essentially you're in like these gloves and it just squeezes you. It's very cool. And then over the weekend, I also did a really potent bodywork session where I had a lot of downloads. And ever since then, I've been seeing all the angel numbers. Like, I've been seeing like all the signs. It's been really cool. So just finding my balance of it all again and finding, like just activating that creativity, that spark, and really leading from my heart again from within. It's always a journey.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It's going to be so cool to see how that evolves for you. I'm excited to tag along. And thank you so much for everything today. I was just thinking, I was like, I feel like people are going to listen to this episode and have like a bajillion questions. So we might have to have you later on in the year too.
Yes, of course. Of course. I love this. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And everyone, I will have Carla's information in the show notes and we will chat with you again soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.